This video is how to draw the epidermis of skin for lab, and we're going to do both thin skin and thick skin. So if we were to look at a skin histology slide, this is what we'd see. We would see the epidermis right here. This part's the epidermis. Whee! And then all of this below it's the dermis. So we have the palpary dermis here. We have the reticular dermis there. That's an erector pili muscle. That's a skin gland. Oh, here's an eccrine sweat gland. There's a hair follicle. So the epidermis is this very small part right here. So the epidermis is either 4 or 5 layers, depending on where it is. So this is thin skin. And we have a layer right there called the stratum basale. Then we have the stratum spinosum right here. Then we have see that thin line right there? That's the stratum granulosum. And then finally, we have the stratum corneum. So let's look at a slightly better picture of the skin. And hopefully my screen flicker issue is not going to be an issue here. So we have the different layers. So here's that same picture blown up. And this is what we're going to draw. So I'm going to switch this view down into this window and show you the graph paper. What I'm going to draw is the dermal papilla. So this area under here is the palpary dermis, and I'm just going to shade this in pink. So let's see how that looks. Yeah, pretty accurate. Here's the pink, and there's some spaces in there. Not that I flunk coloring in and shading. Now we have a single row of cube-shaped cells, and this is a little bit darker. It's more brownish color or a purplish color than pink. So I'm going to draw this single layer of cells right here, which is going to be the stratum basale. So you see right here is my stratum basale. And if we look at the color, it's a little bit darker and there's nucleuses, so I'll try to draw those. If you look at my drawing, I have drawn the stratum basale, which is that row right there of single cells, like so. And now I have this area up here. That's the stratum spinosum. And I picked this slide to look at because it's only 4 or 5 rows thick. In my drawing and lecture, I think I made it 12 or 13. That took a long time to color in. Now this coloration is different from the stem cells. Part of the reason is that's a melanocyte. That's definitely a melanocyte right there. So you have some melanocytes adding color to this row. So this area is a lighter color. So let us draw the next strata. So here are the cells. I only made it a few levels thick. And I now need to add color to it because we have color in this layer as well. Now it should be a slightly lesser pink. So I've labeled that the stratum spinosum. Next, we're going to have the granular layer, the stratum granulosum. And look, I could barely see the cells. This is going to be the funnest layer to draw. It's a darker color, so let's do that. So again, it's not that thick, and I need to label it, so I'll label it stratum granulosum. And then, if I go back over here, we have the shingle-like cells, and these are the dead cells in the stratum corneum. So again, you're going to have to draw this for me with each of the strata. Let me put on the corneum first. So I labeled the stratum corneum, so you can see there it says stratum corneum. So on the lecture exam, you're going to have to, or the lab exam, you're going to have to identify the strata for me. So this bottom strata is the stratum basale, and it has mostly these stem cells. That's definitely a melanocyte though. The stratum spinosum is right there. And we then have this thin layer of the stratum granulosum. And this is where the melanin is accumulating. You can actually see the little granules in the cells there. Ooh, look at that pretty cell with its granules. And then we have the corneum with its shingle-like cells. So that's thin skin. So now I also want you to draw thick skin for me. Now on this thick skin slide, we're going to see that we have a lot more pronounced dermal papilla, like that. And you might actually see some Meissner's corpuscles. There's our Meissner's corpuscle hiding out inside of it. And this is a lot less blown up than the thin skin. Now you'll notice we have 5 layers and not 4 layers. Again, we have a basale, we have a spinosum, we have, again, a very thin granulosum. This is why it's called lucidum. It looks clear. Then we have a lot of these shingle-like cells for the stratum corneum. So I'm going to start this the same way. I am going to draw my dermal papilla, but this time I'm going to really exaggerate them, and I'm going to put in these Meissner's corpuscles, because I like to say Meissner's corpuscles. Oh, and this is actually a duct of an eccrine gland. Your feet and your palms have a lot of sweat glands in them. So I've drawn my stratum basale and my dermal papilla, but before I shade that all in pink, I'm going to draw some Meissner's corpuscles. So these are my Meissner's corpuscles. They're in these nice defined dermal papilla. And on this view, it's hard to see, but that would be the Meissner's corpuscles. And those give you the light touch, or the I just stepped on a Lego touch. So Meissner's corpuscle, capital M, apostrophe S, corpuscle. Now I'll shade it in pink. And while I'm shading it in pink, I'll do the second row. Now this is a lot darker on this stain, so I'll use a darker pen to shade it in. And this one actually looks easier because I don't really see clear cells. I could see this is my region. That's definitely darker than this. This is definitely my stratum basale. This is my stratum spinosum, but it's on such a low power, I think this is scanning, that I can't really see clearly. So it's going to make drawing easier. And if we compare it to our other one, I made it a lot thicker. Here it's only a few layers thick. Compared to that, this is a lot thicker. Remember, the basales are the same thickness in both of them. Now the fun layer, the stratum granulosum. So if we look again, the granulosum is right here. Let's do it green. It won't let me draw with the mouse. There's the granulosum. And again, it's only a couple cell layers thick. So I'm only going to make this a couple. So we have basale, spinosum, granulosum. And again, it's very thin. Then we have our last 2 layers. This is thick skin. So we have this clear stratum lucidum. Ooh, clear like in the white paper I'm using. You know I'm totally just not going to color anything in there, right? And then we have shingle-like cells here, again, because of the stain. I don't think this is H&E stain. I think it's a different stain. You don't really see the shingle-like cells, but I'll draw shingle-like cells anyways for the sake of propriety. So here is my clear stratum lucidum. Here is my stratum corneum. So here are a couple of the pictures I used. So this is the one I used for thin skin. This is our palpary dermis, stratum basale, stratum spinosum, see granulosum, and then corneum. Then for our thick skin, I use these pictures. So you can see the magnification. This is a lot closer than this one. And I get that extra strata for the stratum lucidum right there. So I suggest either going to the lab book, this is the lab book's picture, and using the lab book picture as your guide to draw the strata, or going to Google Images for the strata. But again, on the lab exam, I'm going to ask you, point to it saying, what is this strata? Basale, what is this strata? Spinosum, what is that strata? Granulosum, lucidum. So again, basale, spinosum, granulosum, and corneum. So, thank you very much, and I look forward to talking to you about your art project for part 2. Thank you. Have a good day.